Okay, this is my third attempt. I'm sorry, I'm fucking super stoned, and my attention is clearly fucking all over the place. But I just really wanted to share the last of my story because my phone ran out of memory right as I was getting to. I believe I shared with you guys the climax, and then was getting into the aftermath, which, you know, sounded like a really happy ending, right? Well, you know what? And I didn't just, I thought the natural conclusion just wasn't logical. Because, you know, here's the thing, life doesn't have happy endings a lot of the time. And when there is, you know, say hypothetically, something like a bunch of angels who can go nuclear, constantly going nuclear in our solar system, that amount of energy is going to create issues, and consequences in real life will resound in many ways. So, you know, I put in a great deal of thought, mulling over whether I should just leave this on a fairly happy note, or whether like putting in a more nihilistic ending would just be like contrived and me shoehorning in something miserable just for the sake of being miserable. And I didn't want to do that, so I just I came up with what seemed like a rational outcome, that didn't gore porn style fucking like end it on a note that's just so obviously bleak to the point of just being edgy. So yes, it goes from a very happy note in the aftermath to essentially annihilation of everything in the solar system. But I'm just stressing to you that I didn't just throw this in because I really wanted anything but a happy ending. So yeah, just know that it's not me trying to be an edgy fucking whatever, you know. But yeah, just to recap a bit on the ending. So I will read you you know, the final battle, and then the aftermath, and then the ending. So so at this point, you know, most of the human population has been wiped out, or being experimented on by the alien fallen angel axis. And so the remaining humans get together and they just are Leroy Jenkins style, fuck it, let's just storm our way into these places and, you know, see what happens. And so of course many waves of people are cut down and captured to be modified into automatons that fight against the remaining humans and the angels, you know, for the Axis, and under the influence of the Fallen One. And the Fallen One also just chews some of them up to use the human fuel, because essentially, why some of the angels, when they're affected with this contagion that causes them to deteriorate, and makes just holding on to that human form difficult, they'll in a serious state of desperation, you know, a fiending addict, they'll fucking snap and feed on a human, because, you know, there are vestiges of, you know, as I was saying, like these angels, they get their energy from God's throne, and God's throne has been abandoned for a while. And like a battery, without God, there's no charge to the throne, so they're going on borrowed time essentially. But there are remnants of faith and hope in some of the people, so they will feed on them to prevent themselves from combusting out into their angel form, which they will lose control over the massive amounts of energy because of the deterioration this contagion has caused in them. The problem though is that they also ingest the sins of the human host, which corrupts them further, because angels are supposed to be perfect, infallible beings. So again, I'm not religious. I'm just like purposely using a lot of biblical imagery because it's just like so prominent, and even not people who aren't religious or weren't brought up like going to church at a Christian denomination, like even once, like it's still within the public consciousness. Like these are insanely well-known and influential sort of images. And again, I'm a storyteller who likes allegory. I like to say things through my images, and then leave most of it for you to interpret and conclude what I'm getting at on your own. I've explained to you kind of like what has inspired some of the depictions. Like World War II inspired a lot of this. But I'm not telling you necessarily what my commentary is. But yeah, so at this point, the fallen angel has used up the last of the human fuel it could get, and it's penetrated the ground, and like it's cables that fuck, why can I not think of this word? It's very basic. Roots go under the ground, under the or into the Atlantic Ocean, start making it corrosive, like just completely throwing off the pH levels. And so in a final bid, the seraphim left alive, who are already weathering out of existence because of this contagion, they assail the fallen angel in unison and manage to rip it from the earth before hurling it into the Kuiper belt, which, for those of you who don't know, Kuiper belt, massive amount of comets that circumnavigate the solar system. There are actually a few dwarf planets in the Kuiper belt, but yeah, that's where that's why comets will often end up going through our solar system if they're not pulled into Saturn, or sorry, not Saturn, Jupiter, because of Jupiter's like insane gravitational pull. Like Jupiter has probably spared our species so many times. Yeah, in any case, so yeah, they fling themselves all the way to the Kuiper belt as they start going nuclear, because they don't want to hurt people on the planet. So they all reach critical mass and explode, annihilating both themselves and the fallen angel, which just sends ripples through the solar system, leaving some aliens and humans as well as hybrids left. The aliens are quickly lynched, and the vastly reduced population left over decides to make peace with the hybrids, and with the blast of life from the self-destructing seraphim, all debris in the atmosphere is vaporized. Every planet and satellite in the solar system, like natural satellites like moons, are revitalized, and from the light released by the seraphim upon detonation, the surviving occupants of Earth, they're able to start spreading through the cosmos and space exploration, and because other planets and satellites like the moon Titan and Europa, which have water on them and are thought to actually potentially have microbial life. In reality, they're now swimming with life, and these discoveries monumentally shift our understanding of the cosmos on a level that's historically unprecedented. And so we, and a great irony, retire religion, and people discover the key to life is to contribute, not consume. Great, right? Great. That would have been a happy ending. But here's the thing. All the crazy fireworks displays of colossal energy bursts that have happened, throughout the story, and then that final, explosion of a dozen fucking angels, and then the fallen one as well, in the Kuiper belt, and sending ripples through our solar system. It's kind of put a crazy amount of strain on our sun, which is already, very much like these angels, and that it's a bunch of fucking crazy dense energy, hydrogen explosions going off, creating, sunlight. And, that's where, solar flares and stuff, are results of these massive fucking, billions of nuclear explosions. But, the scientists are kind of divided on whether, it takes a lot or a little to actually alter the sun. But for the purpose of the story, all these explosions, causes the sun to rapidly start devouring itself, kind of like the Seraphim did when they became corrupted. I thought that was kind of cunning. Not to fucking gloat or anything, I'm so self-critical of my own writing that when I do write something that I'm like, oh, that was kind of witty, I'm like, wow, I'm capable of what? Oh shit. But so basically the sun goes nuclear, and the resulting explosion just scalps all the planets. At least the terrestrial planets that do have atmospheres, scalps them of their atmospheres. So everything that was alive on these planets killed instantly. Everything that's alive in the solar system completely eradicated. Which, yes, that may sound like I was just really, really trying to force in a bleak ending, because I don't like happy endings. I mean, if it's really the logical conclusion of a story, then I'll let it happen, but I just didn't think the happy ending was necessarily a logical conclusion. It was the ending for a couple of days, but it just wasn't sitting right with me, so as I said, I ruminated on it quite a bit, and I thought, you know what? This is a bittersweet ending. It's like, yeah, sure, everything's fucking destroyed, but the thing is, humans put up a hell of a fight, and so in a way, they got to go farther than any other humans have in history. They got to experience the most historically significant events history would ever, our history, our known history has ever shown, actually happen. So they also got to experience space travel, see life on other planets in their own solar system before perishing, which, as the Drake equation states, the reason there probably isn't aliens visiting us is because most civilizations probably don't make it to Type 0, or past Type 0. I think it's Type 1 civilizations, where they become advanced enough to use their own naturally occurring events like tides and stuff to get energy from, so they're getting perfectly clean energy, and then are capable of interstellar travel. Drake, in his Drake equation, he makes a good, Francis Drake, by the way, physicist, he makes a very good case for why aliens probably existed in our vast solar system, or sorry, solar system, fucking universe. I mean, there could be microbial life, as I said, on Europa, under the ice, but we don't know that. That's just theoretical. There could be civilizations that were advanced, but then ended up just self-destructing. Because we're probably bound to do the same thing. I mean, we have done the same thing. There's been so many. Whole Osmandius fucking. Look at my empire and despair, or whatever. Look at my works in despair, where he's just like a deteriorated statue, and talking about how great of a ruler he was and everything, but his empire is just buried in the sand, and it's all just eroded from just thousands of years of just sitting there forgotten. But yeah, the reason I bring up Osmandius is because it's so indicative of all the major civilizations in the world that crumbled at their own hands. Anyways, I'll wrap this up because there's a dude who's doing work here, and I think he needs to get on the patio. And you guys are probably sick of hearing me prattle on. But so basically, all humans are killed. The remaining seraphim are killed. There's no indication that God ever came back. But the human fight, the human spirit prevailed, and that is the happy ending within the darkness. That is what I deem to be, the silver lining to the black cloud. And I, would fucking probably go insane if I couldn't find the silver lining for all the bad shit that happens in life. But yeah, there you have it. Aliens versus angels, angels versus aliens. I don't know what to call it yet. God's ego death. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Mwah. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm still very stoned. Whatever.